Welcome back to the Gaming News Canada show. As always, I'm your host, Steve McAllister. As you know, we've been following the business of Ontario's open regulated sports betting and online gaming market quite closely for the past 4+ years now. There continues to be a crowded market of almost 50 operators with a customer base that favors playing online casino games much more than placing a parlay or prop bet on a sporting event or athlete. One of the benefiting businesses of that iGaming skewed consumer is Bede, which put all of its proverbial eggs in the basket by launching exclusively in Ontario back in February 2023. Bede released its 2024 financial results this past February, reporting $114 million in net revenue run rate and more than 39,000 active players in the province. Since then, Bede has rebranded itself to Bede Canada, secured a $15 million credit facility, and named one of its co-founders as the chief executive officer of its Canadian business. And here he is with us today. Making his maiden appearance on the podcast, please welcome Chavdar Dimitrov. Hey, Chavdar, this is long overdue. We've been trying to get you on the podcast for a while, but we finally made it happen.
Thanks for having me, Steve. It's a pleasure.
Hey, you know what, Chavdar? It's great. It's great timing too, because we had your partner in crime, Justin Park, on the podcast almost just over a year ago now. So it's great timing to catch up with you and hear about what's going on with the business of Bede these days. I'd like to start though. Just we always like to hear the personal stories of the people we interview about their work in the gaming industry, and obviously Bede's been quite a success story in the Ontario market here. But you weren't new to gaming when you and Justin got together to create Bede back in 2022. You've been with Bede Gaming for a while. Let's just start about your own personal journey through the gaming industry.
Sure. Yeah. I spent 8.5 years with Bede, joined in 2013. Was pretty young back then, and the company was on the up ramp. It was pretty fascinating how I started in iGaming. The business back then was a B2C business, which I really loved. Then throughout the years, it went through a couple of transformations, separating the B2C business and forming a B2B division, which I remained into. And then, yeah, we started serving big customers, mainly in Europe. To start with, the UK market was the focus. And later on, you probably know that Bede won the OG procurement process for iGaming platform, and I was part of that process as well, which was a huge insight into the Ontarian market.
Hey, and just the story, like, how did you and Justin get together? Were you two guys that knew each other through the gaming business, or how did that relationship evolve, and what's the story behind the creation of Bede?
No, I did not know Justin. It was a warm intro. I was joking with him a while back that I was probably one of his easiest recruits for the mission because I was already ready to move on from Bede, and when this opportunity came across, I didn't think much about it. So yeah, I joined Justin without knowing him. I was appointed as a technical co-founder of Bede, and here I am now 3 years later. It's been a roller coaster of adventures, I would say.
Shavdar, how's that relationship kind of evolved with Justin? I mean, you don't know much about him at the beginning, and how has that relationship changed over the 3 years you've been together now?
Good question. I did not know him well, but what he is doing in his presentation processes, he's sharing essays, and at the beginning, I just read a few of his essays, and they really resonated with him. Probably one of the best ones was named "Customer is King" with capital K, and I was like, yeah, this makes so much sense. I would love to join a business that is so much focused on the customer. He also, had a couple of, working habits and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. These things resonate, and over the years we got to know each other much better. And I think it's fair to say that we share the same value system, and we operate on the same frequency most of the time. Maybe some people will say that not all of the time, but most of the time, I think we're pretty aligned.
And it feels like too, like we live in a much different world today post COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, we're talking to you. You're in Sofia, Bulgaria, at your office. We know Betty has established an office in Toronto. I think Justin's based in the U.S. But I think part of the success story too, it does reflect uh, the ability for remote work and for people to be in different parts of the world, and that you can create a business that performs quite well. And also, from just talking to Justin last year, there seems to be also a lot of uh, satisfaction among the employees at Betty with what you created and the culture and the environment.
Yeah, I think we're somewhat unusual in the market. Yes, we have multiple offices across the world, but we're really passionate about our office culture. And specifically at the beginning, everything was built, within four walls. All of the discussions, the whole product was shaped in face-to-face conversation, and we're trying to maintain that as much as we could. Obviously, with being 150 people right now across the globe, it's much harder. A lot of the conversations happen over Zoom or video calls, but still we have these hubs in Sofia, Toronto, London is a new office that we just opened, where the magic. We try to maintain the magic of face-to-face collaboration. It's not easy. I would say that we still have the post-COVID environment of people seeking that work from home or remote opportunities, which is something that is not in our favor, I would say. But yeah, I think what we have achieved with this office culture is remarkable, and I would stand behind that as much as I could, really.
Hey, we do, we like to tap into people like Shavdar when we get you on the podcast to ask about leadership and culture. And I just wonder, is there a tip you would give to young entrepreneurs or people getting into startup businesses? Is there, something that you and Justin have done, or I think Riona Mohan, I think she has received a lot of credit from Justin as well with what's gone on in the Toronto office. But is there a tip you would give to young people about when you're building a culture in today's working environment where, it's not 250 people in the same office building together?
Sure. I think the number one driver is passion. If you're passionate about what you're doing, if you really believe that your product or service is worth it, I think it just gets translated through it to the end customer. I think this is what has made us successful thus far. We really care about what we're doing, and also we're trying to put ourselves in the shoes of the customer as much as we could. Of course, this is a regulated industry. We can't play freely and be the actual customer, but we're doing our best with test accounts and testing environments and all that in order to experience the product firsthand. So yeah, it's all about focusing on what you love and do it with passion.
Hey, I want to go back to your comment about Justin's uh, customer is king essay, and it's funny. We put out a podcast last week with Kevin Kennedy, who does the creative strategy and partnerships for the Parlay, and I kind of referred to Bill Gates' content as king comment. On the podcast, we often talk about branding and marketing and advertising, and we don't get too deep in the weeds on the technical side. But because you're here, I'd love to get your thoughts. Just when you you talk about that customer as king, what are the challenges and opportunities for you as a technical guy, and how has helped that shape you in running this company?
Sure. Well, being on the side of making the product is a good thing in my view. I think for the most part, if we have our values set properly, then it's much easier to make the right decisions. Because in technology and R&D in general, it is very, very easy to, go the slippery slope of over engineering, solving the wrong problem, and trying to, over engineer where it's not necessary. With Betty, the whole direction of the business was set very, very early on. And when we solve the problems with, this ultimate vision in mind, that we're here to serve the customer, we want to have the best product, the best service, this helped massively. I can go into much more detail about how software is made and how, product is made, but I think this is the headline.
I think we always talk about the best product, and when I go to the SBC summits or the ICE conferences or Global Gaming Expo, I mean, there's lots to talk about product, but I just can you dig a little deeper when you talk about the best product? What's that exactly mean with regards to the customer?
The best product is the one that solves a very specific problem of the end user, and it solves it seamlessly. Like an example on our side is payments. So from the very, very beginning, we were like, payments need to be as slick as possible. Like no questions are asked on withdrawals. That's a value of ours. You can see it on our homepage. And then even on the deposit side, we have like engineered every single step of the process so that the customer has as little friction as possible. Same goes for how customer success team is accessed. Like it's a button that was floating for 2 years on your website all the time. And I would say a great product has two parts, and maybe it's underestimated how important the two parts are. Like one part is building the product, but the second part is running the product, operating the product. And when these two motions are developed in tandem, this is where great things happen. And from from early on, maybe not from the very beginning, but maybe 12 months already, we have developed these back offices, chat systems, everything that is centered around, okay, how do we deliver the best service to the customer when they reach out in chat, when they write an email. Even the whole CRM automation is powered by technology and by, I would say, great level of automation for the level of maturity of our business. So it all blends together.
When we spoke with Justin a year ago, Chavdar, he talked about, the importance of customer service. And I think for any of us now that go on websites trying to get a problem fixed, it can be a pretty frustrating, painful process by being steered towards a community board or talking to an automated customer service rep and not getting the answers that you want. And that was something that Justin really emphasized, is that the customer service was a priority for your company right from the beginning.
This is right. In this world where the AI world is everywhere, I think very many businesses are tempted to just try and replace the human touch with bots and models and all that. For us, I think we're going in the opposite direction. We are actually over investing in human support, and it's the feedback loop that reinforces that. I don't know whether you have looked into it, but our Trustpilot rating is 4.5, and every fourth review mentions chat being accessible, being delivered by people that are local, people that are human, that understand the customer, not only from transactional perspective, like this game didn't pay out, I want my win, or can you check this for me, and that it goes much deeper than that. It's like the human interaction, the conversation. Sometimes it happens that we're seeing people going to chat just to chat, and it's something that we embrace. It's fascinating to see how how such a simple function can give such a amazing advantage.
Hey Shavdar, when we talked to Justin a year ago, he was already very pleased with the business in Ontario, and for him, it reaffirmed that the company made the right decision by launching in Ontario. I mean, this is a highly competitive market for 49 operators, and they get around 84 websites now, and that doesn't include OLG. Um, Other than what you just outlined in terms of customer service and that, like, why else do you think Betty's had success and continues to have that success a year later?
I think there are two other ingredients that I didn't discuss. The first one is the blend between real money and social casino. We have our meta game and the Betty coin. These are two great assets that enhance the whole experience because we know that customers can play games of different operators. They're the same games, but what we add on top of that is this whole loop around the games. We have changed it twice already, and we're on the way to introduce a third version of that. And yeah, it's the value added by playing. It's a little bit of win no matter what type of proposition where regardless of whether you lose or win, there's always this coins balance that is acquired and then accumulated, and you can spend your coins in the shop. This is one of the, I would say, key weapons of Betty. The second one that I would like to point out is Betty started as a mobile first website, and probably most of the companies say that they're mobile first, but our website was actually designed as if it was a native iOS app. Like, it looked exactly the same. We just launched our native app, and the changes are like super minor. Like, there is a little bit more space because you don't have that address bar on top or the bottom depending on your browser, but the product looks exactly the same. And what we're getting a lot of credit for is the simplicity of the product, being slots only. The homepage, which is extremely simple. This is something that our customers value, and it was one of the um, founding insights that people that love slots don't want to get lost into all other verticals that every other operator offers. We doubled down on that, and we created a product that is really three main screens, and people love it.
I wonder if that simplicity is a competitive advantage. I mean, I go to some sportsbook accounts and I'm being pitched NFL games and Stanley Cup playoff games. And right now we have a federal election in Canada, so I'm getting offers around that, and I'm getting casinos with offers as well. I mean, it certainly has to be a lot cleaner when you're an online casino only business. And to your point, if you have a customer who just wants to play blackjack or a customer that's playing online slots, it seems to be a lot easier to give that customer what they want.
Certainly. And when we're shaping our roadmaps for the future, it's much easier to serve one vertical than multiple verticals. So there's less internal competition as well.
Hey, Shavdar, two-part question on Canada. I mean, the decision to rebrand the company Betty Canada, and then the decision for you to become CEO. And I don't know if that's just changing a name on a business card and on your LinkedIn profile, or if Justin and you felt that there's just need to be more investment from a human resources standpoint into Canada.
Yeah, it's a complicated answer. So one of the reasons behind the split is, since we saw the great success of Canada so far, the whole leadership team started thinking about how to replicate it. And out of this thought process, the Bettyverse concept was born. And the way we see this, future is during through these decentralized businesses. Instead of having one HQ that manages multiple markets, we almost want to create a business per market and stay hyper focused. This was the formula for Ontario and it worked, so we think it could work elsewhere as well. This is the whole, Bettyverse motion that actually Justin is driving. So the separation actually powers him going away and thinking about launching new markets through new businesses, and me focusing on purely Ontario. And if Alberta comes up, hopefully it will come up, then Alberta as well.
I think Marquise to casino.org interviewed Justin back in February after the financial results were released, and he referred to kind of Bede having almost becoming like the McDonald's of iCasino. And I think that makes some sense. And again, I think it's maybe a little bit different than what we saw in Ontario with some of the larger operators where they might have a very minimal presence in Ontario, and a lot of the business was being driven by the U.S. business. And then we have seen companies. I mean, obviously, PointsBet made a big investment in Canada, got office space in Toronto. FanDuel is employing a lot of people in Toronto. We know the Score before it got purchased by Penn had a big presence in Ontario as well. But you guys seem to be this new strategy, new direction. Sort of seems that you're going to have a very heavy presence in whatever market you're operating in. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, we want to do the exact opposite of what the bigger operators are doing. If you take Entain, for example, they have so many markets, and the local teams are super small, and everything, well, not everything, but a lot of it is managed by a central CRM team, central marketing team. We think that this is harming the performance and really the customer approach, and we want to do it like very contained within the same team, being able to execute on the strategy for the specific market.
Hey, Shavdar, I just wonder, with regards to Alberta, like what are you and Justin? I mean, are you meeting with the Canadian Gaming Association? Are you meeting with the people in Alberta? Like how does Bede participate in that process of helping launch a similar regime to Ontario in Alberta?
Unfortunately, we do not participate actively. We had a meeting with the Ministry of Red Tape, and we discussed the process. I think the truth is we just don't have the capacity to handle that whole process, in full capacity. But yeah, we're following the news. If an opportunity comes up to participate, we would. On the other hand, we're very active with iGaming Ontario, and we have a few projects that we're moving forward together, including the new services that are planned to be rolled out. We offered help with testing the new central self-exclusion service. We are, among the first ones that are testing and adopting the new systems and providing feedback. So I truly believe that the close relationship and mutual help between the iGaming Ontario body and the operators is key for success.
And it sounds like if Alberta does happen, Shavdar, you bet he would set up would intend to operate in Alberta and set up an office similar to what you have in Toronto.
Yeah, for sure. Again, it's TBD whether it's a separate office or Toronto handles all regulated provinces in Canada. But if Quebec were to regulate, which I haven't heard is on the plans, but if they were to do that, we most certainly will open an office in Quebec because it's a different language, probably slightly different culture as well. So I think, yeah, it's case by case, but for now we're planning to run Canada from this same company.
I guess I think, with regards to the United States, Shavdar, it's been a bit of a tug of war there for the gambling industry. I think there's still legal iGaming in only 6 or 7 U.S. states. We know, there's a lot of lobbying going on to expand that across the country, south of the border. New York's worked really hard to try to get something going on the iGaming side. Um, just the fact that there is such limited legal iGaming in the U.S. Is that a deterrent for you and Justin in terms of looking for opportunities in the U.S. or because the U.S. is such a large market, it's something that you can't ignore?
Uh, no, we definitely are not ignoring it. I wouldn't say it's on the immediate plans, but yeah, I would love to have the opportunity to eventually run a state myself one day. But no, not immediate plans right now.
Just on the Canada business, Shavdar. When we talked to Justin a year ago, but Betty it was a good story. There was almost a little bit of the little engine that could at the beginning, and the Betty brand, was pretty obvious and skewing to a female audience. That's changed a little bit. So I wonder, one, was there any thought at all to rebrand, to changing the Betty brand? And then secondly, how have you how has that demographic shifted a little bit, and how have you attracted or tried to skew, not skew, but attract more male customers?
Yeah, I want to confirm that Betty started as a female-oriented brand. Let's put that out.
Sure.
We never shifted our focus actually of the female audience. It just came naturally that male audience is also attracted into our product, and currently we're about 50-50, which I believe is relatively female skewed for this type of business. But yeah, I wouldn't say we are focusing that much on the demographic traits like gender, but more like the behaviors. So the founding insights were people that love slots usually play social casino games, and these naturally skew to be more women. And when we were designing the product, we were thinking about this, virtual persona that is the millennial woman that plays slots more casually rather than a hardcore high roller type of customer. And we tried to design the product around that persona. And this is, still valid. It hasn't changed.
Hey, last question, Shabdar. I think I mentioned at the top that you had secured some additional funding not too long ago. I think you did some Series A funding either at the beginning of the year or late last year to the tune of about $5 million. How do you, what do you do with that funding? Like, where are you investing that money?
Sure. Yeah, we secured a 15 million US dollars debt facility. It's going towards growing the business, mainly user acquisition, but we're also expanding from a human capital standpoint. We're looking into new verticals as well. I can't share much more at this stage, but we're looking to diversify slots a little bit. Where slots will remain the main focus of the business, there are interesting verticals that would, go well with it. But yeah, the main focus of this facility is powering user acquisition of our newly launched mobile app, and then further increasing our presence in as a brand in the province. And if Alberta comes up before the end of the year, hopefully, a little bit of money will go towards launching Alberta as well.
I'm sorry, Shabdar. One more question, and maybe you can't answer this, but have you and Justin ever been, have you ever thought about sports betting? And again, I ask that because given the Betty brand and the women's story there, and the fact that we've seen, tremendous growth in women's sports, especially, now with the launch of the Northern Super League Women's Soccer League in Canada and the success of the Professional Women's Hockey League. I just wonder, is that a conversation you and Justin have ever had?
We had that conversation a few times, jokingly, and the answer remains the same. It's a hard no still.
Chavdar Dimitrov is the co-founder of Bede Gaming, CEO of gaming, or sorry, of Bede Canada these days. Hey, Chavdar, really great to have you on the podcast. Really appreciate sharing your insights and your wisdom. And let's make sure we don't wait so long to get you back on the Gaming News Canada show again.
I would love to. Thank
That's
you
it.
for having me.
Thank you, Chavdar. That's it for this episode of the Gaming News Canada show. As always, you can find this podcast on Substack at gamingnewscanada.ca, the various podcast platforms, and also on our YouTube channel. Thanks again to Chavdar Dimitrov from Bede Canada for joining us today, and we will see everybody again very, very soon.